Okay, good. So we started permutations and combinations in the morning, and we started with this concept of arrangements where we want to arrange different objects and look at in how many ways we can arrange uh, uh, objects, right? So, for example, uh, if we have so we started with this. I'm not going to go into too much detail because abhi humne subahi tak kiya. So we started with this basic counting principle. We first said, okay, if there are m ways of doing one thing, n ways of doing another thing, there are going to be m into n ways of doing both things together. So in easier words, all that means is if you've got multiple things happening at the same time, आपने individually उनके number of ways find करने हैं and you just multiply them, right? So multiplication कर रहे होते हैं different number of ways के आपस के अंदर. So that's what we did in the morning. I just reminded you about this factorial notation. ये क्या होती है? Then we started talking about these arrangements specifically. So for example, we started with this. We said what happens if we have five numbers, 5 digits. उनसे हम कितने 5-digit numbers बना सकते हैं? We saw what happens if the numbers can be repeated. We saw what happens if the numbers cannot be repeated. We saw what happens if we don't want a 5-digit number, but instead a 3-digit number. उसमें क्या कर सकते हैं? Then we talked about how we can do similar things for letters, for instance, and basically for any kind of object, any set of objects. You can arrange them like this. Then we saw what happens if you've got some objects being repeated. कोई identical objects हैं, अगर वो multiple times आ रहे हो तो उसमें क्या करते हैं? The summary of that was if you have n objects in which there is one object that's being repeated p times, another object that's being repeated q times, another object that's being repeated r times. तो जो repetitions होती हैं उनसे हम उनके arrangement से हम divide कर देते हैं basically, ताकि वो multiple times nahi count ho rahi ho. हमने ये देखा था सुबह को. Then we talked about restrictions. We looked at this example that we have, let's say 12 books. We want to arrange them on a shelf. We have 6 math books, 4 physics books, 2 chemistry books. What happens if there are no restrictions? How many ways can we arrange them? That's simply 12 factorial. So that was straightforward. But then we said if we have some restrictions, for example, if we want the chemistry books to be together, what we do is we say we have a single box for both of them. So हमारे जो 12 boxes थे पहले, 12 के बजाय we consider them as 11 boxes. So 11 factorial ways हो गए उनको boxes को arrange करने के. But then we also think about how we arrange these two objects. उनके 2 factorial ways हो जाएंगे. Similarly, if you had more than 2 objects in a single box, तो फिर आप उसमें आप देख लो क्या होता है उसमें आपके number of arrangements for what is inside the box. They sort of become according to whatever is the number of objects inside that single box. For example, यहाँ पे हमारे पास physics books को हमने इकट्ठा रखना था, तो physics books के arrangements आप क्योंकि वो 4 books हैं, we said उसके arrangements 4 factorial होंगी. So 9 factorial was the total number of outer boxes. That multiplied by 4 factorial, we got the number of ways for this. तो हमने ये सब चीजें discuss की थी in the morning today. Okay. Now, let's continue with that. And I ended the class with this question, and I asked you to think about this. So, how do we do this one now? So, we have 6 math books. We have 4 physics books. We have 2 chemistry books. We want to put them on a shelf. But now the condition is all the math books should be together, all the physics books should be together, and all the chemistry books should be together. Okay. So how do we think about it? Can anyone guide me here? What do we do?
Sir, it'll be that the physics books will be together तो जो उनका पहले फैक्टोरियल लाइक उन जितनी भी फिजिक्स बुक्स हैं उनके फैक्टोरियल होगा, फिर केमिस्ट्री बुक्स का होगा, इसी तरह मैथ बुक्स का होगा, एंड देन दैट विल बी इनटू द फैक्टोरियल, क्योंकि वी नीड टू मेक श्योर कि उस तरह भी तो सिचुएशंस होंगे कि फिजिक्स केमिस्ट्री मैथ, तो फिर मैथ्स केमिस्ट्री फिजिक्स, तो इस तरह विल मल्टीप्लाई द फैक्टोरियल्स of each the books and then into three factorial.
Okay, good. So that's correct. Now let me explain what she means. So now what we want is we want all math books to be together. मतलब math books का आप एक single box बना देंगे. All physics books should be together. So you have another box for the physics books. And similarly, all chemistry books should be together. So you have a third box for chemistry books. So the total number of boxes that you have now is just 3. So it's going to look something like this. You've got only 3 boxes. Okay. In one box, you've got 6 math books. And then in another box, you've got 4 physics books. And in another box, you've got 2 chemistry books. Okay. Now, there are different ways of arranging these boxes. First of all, आपके पास 3 boxes हैं. How many ways can we arrange these boxes in? We can arrange them in 3 factorial ways. For example, एक तो हो सकता है कि आप math books पहले रख लें, physics books बाद में कर लें, बाद में chemistry books रख लें. Another possibility could be that you have math books and then chemistry books and then physics books. And similarly, you have 6 possible cases, 3 factorial. So 3 into 2 into 1, you've got 6 possible cases for this, for arranging these outer boxes, right? 3 factorial 6 hota hai, so that's where 6 is coming from. Ab we 3 factorial ways of arranging all these outer boxes, okay? But then we have to look at what happens to the books that are inside each of those boxes. For example, you've got some math books here. We have some physics books, and we also have some chemistry books. So now we need to see how are we going to arrange these books. ठीक है. So math books को arrange करने के कितने ways होंगे? We have 6 factorial ways for that. What about the physics books? For physics books, we've got 4 factorial ways. For the chemistry books, we've got 2 factorial ways. And we multiply all of them, and that's going to give us our result. Okay? यहाँ से हमें overall result मिल जाएगा. You can see what that turns out to be. Anyone tell me what this is? 3 factorial into 6 factorial into 4 factorial into 2. So this should be 207360. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is how we arrange all of these books such that all math books are together, all physics books are together, and all chemistry books are together. Okay, let's move on. Achha, now we want to look at another case. Now in this case, it's very similar to what we've done before, but now it's a combination of 2 different concepts that we've done. अब यहाँ पे क्या है? We've got some repetitions as well. और उसमें फिर आपके साथ restrictions भी आ रही हैं, right? So we've talked about repetitions, how we're going to deal with repetitions, कि किस तरह से हमें वो divide करना पड़ता है कुछ arrangement से when we have some repetitions of some identical objects. We've talked about restrictions. One kind of restriction for now, okay, what happens if we combine, if we want to put some objects together with each other. हमने इन दोनों cases की अभी तक बात की है. But now, what about this? We have this word Mississippi, and what we want to do is we want to see in how many different ways we can arrange these letters, given that there are no restrictions. Okay, first of all, there are no restrictions. Matlab, you don't have to put any letters together or anything like that. How do you arrange these letters? What do you think? Anyone? We have done this before. How do you arrange them? How many letters do we have in total? 4 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
So
10,
we have a
11.
factorial, but we'll divide
The,
by the number of times we repeat, or like it'll be s वाला जो है तो divide by 4 factorial and divide by 3 factorial and then 2 factorial for p. I think.
yes, so we've got 11 factorial total number of ways, but then we've got some letters that are being repeated. For example, S is coming 2 and 2 4 times, and then I is coming 1, 2, 3, and 4 times. Both of them are coming 4 times. And then we have P as well. P is also repeated 2 times. So what we do is for S, we divide by 4 factorial. S की वजह से हमने 4 factorial से divide कर दिया. And then I की arrangements कितनी होंगी 4 factorial. We also divide by that because divide by 4 factorial because of I. So we got 4 factorial more. And then we have 2 P's. So we also divide by 2 factorial because of that. Okay, P's भी repeat हो रहे हैं उसकी वजह से हमने इसको 2 factorial से divide कर दिया. And then you can evaluate this and see what you get. Now, if I were to try this, 11 factorial divided by 4 factorial divided by 4 factorial divided by 2 factorial, that turns out to be 3, 4, 6, 5, 0. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is how we arrange these objects. But now we have some restrictions as well. So you see, you've got repetitions, you've got some objects that are identical, some letters that are identical to each other. But now we have another restriction, and that is the two P's and M have to be next to each other. Two P's and M have to be next to each other. Okay, so how do you think about this now? Two P's and M have to be next to each other. So earlier there were 11 letters, and we would think of it as 11 different boxes, or उससे हमारे पास 11 factorial ही आ रहा था. But now we have to put some objects together. And which are those two? Which are those three objects? We've got some P's, two P's, and one M. Now let me draw some boxes here because that will help us understand. So let's say we have initially we were supposed to have 11 boxes. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So initially we were supposed to have 11 boxes. Okay? But now what has happened? Two P's and M have to be together. Kitne letters are here? There are 3 letters. Okay? So what we do is we put them together in one box. तो ये जो 3 boxes हमारे पास ये आ रहे थे पहले, 3 boxes के बजाय हम क्या कहते हैं? We say this is just one box and we are putting 2 P's and 1 M inside the single box. बस एक single box के अंदर रख रहे हैं. ठीक है? So देखिए टोटल पहले 11 थे. 11 में से आपने ये 3 subtract कर दिए. How many are we left with? We've got 8 boxes here and then another here. So there are total 9 boxes at this point. Total हमारे पास कितने boxes आ रहे हैं यहाँ पे? They are 9 boxes. So इनकी arrangements, boxes को arrange करने की boxes की arrangement क्या होंगी? वैसे तो ये 9 factorial होंगी. But do we have anything else to consider here as well? अब यहाँ पे repetitions भी तो हो रही हैं. We've got, what are the remaining letters now? Let me write those letters. अब बाकी letters जो है वो कौन से रह गए हैं हमारे पास? M तो वहाँ पे चला गया. We've got 4 I's. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we've got 4S. And we have what left? Do you have anything left? There, yes, यही 8 letters आ रहे हैं. नहीं, yeah, so यही 8 letters हमारे पास आ रहे हैं. ठीक है? These are the 8 letters that are left. अब देखें, जब हम boxes को हम arrange कर रहे हैं, how many boxes do we have? We have 9 boxes. So there are 9 factorial ways of arranging those boxes if they were all different. But now 4 of them are identical and another 4 of them are identical. So what we do is we divide it by 4 factorial and we also divide it by another 4 factorial. One time because of those i's जो identical थे and another time because of those s that were identical. Is this point clear to everyone?
सर एक दफा रिपीट कर दें.
देखिए हमें क्या करना है, we have those letters. Let me write those letters here again. So we've got M I S S I S S I P P I. This is the set of letters that we have. There are 11 letters in total. Now it says 2 P's and M. So basically एक M है. They have to be next to each other. तो इस तरह से इकट्ठे होने चाहिए. They can be, for example, PPM इस तरह आ जाए, PMP आ सकता है, MPP आ सकता है. You know, they have to be together. इनमें दरम्यान में कोई और लेटर नहीं आ सकता इनके दरम्यान. So they are going to be in a single box. उनको हमने एक single box में रख दिया. How many letters are we left with? We are left with 8 other letters. ठीक है. तो अब total आपके पास जो boxes होंगे वो कितने होंगे? You've got 1 box here and then 8 boxes for the remaining letters because वो तो किसी भी तरह arrange हो सकते हैं. So you've got 9 boxes in total. And then we see उनमें से कितने boxes के अंदर identical objects हैं. 9 में से we've got 4 i's and 4 s. So we divide by 4 factorial, once because of i's and once because of those s's.
सर ये जो दूसरे बॉक्सेस बने हैं 9 है.
नहीं टोटल 9 है ना, बाकी तो 8 है. टोटल 9 है. एक ये 1 है और बाकी 8 है. टोटल 9 हो गया ना इन सबका.
सर नहीं वो बाकी
Total.
वाले अभी मैंने काउंट किए तो वो वैसे 9 थे वहाँ पे. एक एक्स्ट्रा
अच्छा
लाइन
सही.
है.
Okay, sorry. So that's a mistake then. Let me, yeah,
Sir,
it
P
should be
or
like this.
M भी तो होंगे rotate. Are we going to add that as well?
Yes. So this is not the final result yet. So we have to do something more here. But we're considering the outer boxes right now. So ये हमने outer boxes को arrange कर लिया. ठीक है. So this is for the outer boxes. But now we have to think about what happens inside this box, for instance. So इस box के अंदर क्या होएगा? That's the next thing that we have to think about. So we've got 2 physics books and 1 math books inside that box. उनके arrangements कितनी होंगी? There are 3 total objects, but 2 of them are identical. These are not physics books and math books. These are P's and M's. Sorry, ये P और M letters हैं. They're not books. So P's identical हैं. P's दोनों identical हैं. So we say 3 factorial is the total number of objects divided by the repetitions, which is 2 factorial. So this is going to be our final result here. This multiplied by this, and that's going to give you something.
सर ये 3 फैक्टोरियल तो समझ आ गई है. 2 आपने इसलिए किया क्योंकि P रिपीट हो रहा है.
उनके P रिपीट हो रहा है ना, उस वजह से 2 से डिवाइड करना पड़ा.
अच्छा.
राइट, बिकॉज देखिए 2 P's अगर आपके पास हो और एक M हो, इनको अरेंज करने के कितने वेज हैं? देयर आर ओनली 3 वेज. PMP हो सकता है या MPP हो सकता है. दीज आर द ओनली 3 वेज. बिकॉज P रिपीट हो रहा है ना, उस वजह से आप 3 से ज्यादा केसेस नहीं बनते. सो 3 factorial divided by 2 factorial. That's how you do that. Okay, they're not 6 ways. अगर तीनों different होते, for example, if you had A, B, C, then you have 6 cases. But यहाँ पे repetition है, तो इसलिए we only have 3 cases. मतलब repetition की वजह से हमें जो repeat हो रहे थे, हमने 2 factorial से वहाँ पे divide कर दिया. How many of you understand this? Can I have raise of hands? Okay, Vanya, let me do that. How many of you understand this? Okay, good. Now, for the rest of you, if you have any questions, please let me know. Let me repeat the second part. ये तो हमने वही ये first part again. Sorry, first part में तो वही किया जो हमने सुबह किया था. Fania, we have these letters. We want to see how many different ways we can arrange these letters. How many letters do we have in total? We've got 11 letters. So we've got 11 factorial because of that. But then we see कि जो repeat हो रहे हैं उनकी arrangement से divide कर दिया. We've got 4s, right? We've got 4 factorial coming from there. We've got 4 i's. We've got 4 factorial coming from there. We've got 2 p's. We've got 2 factorial coming from there. तो हमने उन repetition से यहाँ पे उस तरह से divide कर दिया. Is that okay, Fania? So this is exactly what we did in the morning as well. These are the total number of possible arrangements if we had no restrictions, right? If we had no restrictions, कोई भी restriction नहीं होती है हमारे पास, तो इन objects को arrange करने के ये ways हैं, right? Second part में उसने restrict कर दिया कि अच्छा now 2 p's and m have to be together. So what happens in that case? Yes, Zainab?
Sir, I'm a little confused about the last part. जो first वाला वो तो समझ आ गया कि since there were 9 boxes, so we take 9 factorial and we divide by the repetitions वाला 4 factorial. So can you please repeat why we took the 3 factorial? Like ये जब अकेला isolated था तो ज़्यादा समझ आ रहा था, अब वो overall करके add कर लिया तो मुझे 3 factorial वाली बात समझ नहीं आई जो 3 factorial से multiply किया हुआ है.
देखें ये जो एक बॉक्स है, हमने एक बॉक्स लिया हुआ है, इस बॉक्स के अंदर क्या है? इस बॉक्स के अंदर we've got 1m and 2 p's. So let me just write them like that. This is what we have inside the box. We've got p, m, so 2 p's in fact. We've got p, p, m. This is what we have inside the box. इनको arrange करने के कितने ways होंगे? There are 3 letters in total. That's 3 factorial. But 2 of them are repeated. So divided by 2 factorial.
Oh, ठीक है, समझ आ गई. Thank you.
ठीक है. So what do we get from this? 9 factorial divided by 4 factorial and 4 factorial and 3 factorial 2 factorial. This gives me 1890. Can someone confirm this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is what you get in this case. Okay. Now let's take another example. So अभी तक हम क्या कर रहे थे? We were putting things together. We were putting things next to each other, right? But now we want to separate things. We want to separate people sometimes. Okay. So let's say let's see this example. So we have 6 math books, 4 physics books, 2 chemistry books, and again they need to be placed on a shelf. How many different possible arrangements are there for these books given these conditions now? So again, it's the same example, but now we're looking at some other kinds of restrictions. If the chemistry books should not be next to each other, chemistry books इकट्ठे नहीं हो सकती, उनके दरम्यान में there should be something else. How do you think about this? Chemistry books cannot be
We
together.
can minus it by the total number of arrangements. If we calculate all the arrangements where chemistry books are together, and we minus it from the total.
Exactly. So that's very good. So we want, so remember how many books do we have? We've got 6 math books, we've got 4 physics books and 2 chemistry books, right? So this is the number of books that we have. Now, since the chemistry books should not be next to each other, we already know the number of cases that we have for the chemistry books being to be together. So we found that here. The number of possibilities we have if the chemistry books should be together. हमने क्या कहा था? Boxes total कितने हो जाएंगे? 11. 11 factorial वहां से आ गया, and then we have inside this single box we've got 2 chemistry books, तो उनको arrange करने के कितने ways होंगे? 2 factorial, so we had 11 factorial into 2 factorial. और total possible arrangements कितनी थी? They were just 12 factorial. अगर कोई भी restriction ना हो तो 12 factorial हो गया. तो total में से अगर हम minus कर दें ये वाला case where the chemistry books are together, in all the other cases the chemistry books would not be together. So that's what we want. What we can do here is we can say, let's find the number of ways for this. We will say the number of ways in this case, or the number of arrangements or the number of ways, that's equal to the total in which all the books in which we had no restrictions. So total without any restrictions, and then we subtract from that the case where we had chemistry books together. तो सी वाला केस माइनस कर दें, right? And what does that give us? Total हमारे पास क्या था? 12 factorial. वो तो काफी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड है. We've got 12 books, तो उनको अगर कोई भी restrictions नहीं हो उनको अरेंज करने के कितने ways होंगे? 12 factorial. ठीक है. But then we have chemistry books together. Chemistry books together होने का क्या मतलब है? We have 11 boxes in total, right? 11 boxes आपके पास total है. उसमें chemistry books जो हैं, we can have as many boxes you have 11 boxes in total. Let's say total 11 hai, you've got 11 factorial from that, and then inside that you've got 2 chemistry books. उनकी arrangements कितनी होंगी? They are 2 factorial. तो वो जो केस था उसमें से इसमें से माइनस कर दें 12 factorial minus 11 factorial into 2 factorial, and that's going to give you the number of ways, the number of arrangements in which the chemistry books are not together. ठीक है? Is this clear to everyone?
सर पास्ट पेपर क्वेश्चंस के यही डिफिकल्टी लेवल होता है, लाइक स्टैंडर्ड क्वेश्चंस जो एक्सेप्ट द वेरी डिफिकल्ट वंस, या फिर मोर देन दिस?
अभी तो हमने स्टार्ट किया है, अभी क्या हो गया? Only the first day we are doing this. So these come quite often as well. So you get questions like these, but it's not going to be all of it. मतलब उसका एक part में ये पूछे या 2 parts में ये पूछे, but then you have a couple of parts that require you to do something else. We will discuss them. We थोड़ा सा सब्र करें. Is this clear? इसमें कोई problem? What do you get from this?
Three 99168.
399,168.
3 zeros. इसके आगे.
Okay, 0, 0, 0. So that's what we get here. Okay, so this is the number of arrangements where the chemistry books are not together. Acha. Now, let's look at this. If not all physics books should be next to each other. What about this now? We have 6 math books, remember? We've got 4 physics books and we have 2 chemistry books. And now what we want is, not all physics books should be next to each other, right? Physics books सारी जो हैं इकट्ठी नहीं होनी चाहिए. तो again, अब क्या करें? सारी इकट्ठी होने के cases निकाल लें, which we actually found earlier, और total में से minus कर दें, right? Again, we can do the same thing. We can say the number of arrangements here is simply going to be the number of arrangements is going to be equal to the total possibilities without restrictions minus physics books together minus the case where all physics books are together, right? उस केस का माइनस कर दिया. Now let's figure them out again. Total क्या है 12 factorial. उसमें से माइनस कर दिया physics books being together वाला case. Now remember we did this earlier. If all the physics books were to be next to each other, we said we will put them in one single box like this. उनको एक box में डाल देंगे. And then the other boxes are going to be 8 in total. The total 9 हो गए. 9 factorial total का आ गया into the arrangements of those physics 4 physics books. आपके पास क्या हो गया 9 factorial into 4 factorial. You subtract that here. Step 12 factorial में से minus कर दिया आपने ये वाला case where all the physics books are together, and that was 9 factorial into 4 factorial. And you'll get something from this as well. Okay, so if there were 4 books and we want not all of them to be together, this is what we get. 12 factorial minus 9 factorial into 4 factorial. Okay, उसमें से minus कर दिया. Now what do I get from this? I'm getting 470292480. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So this was very similar to what we did earlier. But now let's change this bit. If none of the physics books should be next to each other. Now, how is it really different from what we saw earlier? So in this example, it said, not all physics books should be next to each other. Right? Not all of them should be next to each other. Now it says, none of them should be next to each other. What's the difference between the two cases?
In the first case, we could have 2 physics books together instead of all 4. इसमें none of them should be together.
Yes. So in this case, in the first case, we wanted this case to be not possible. That, for example, we could not have M and then P, 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 and then another M, and the rest could be arranged in whatever way. M, P, M, M. But this case would not be allowed. However, something like this would still be allowed. M, P, P, M, C, P, C, and so on. यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? We've got 2 physics books together. यहाँ पे इसके अंदर this is fine, this is not fine. चारों इकट्ठे नहीं हो सकते, but you can have 2 together, you can have 3 together. This case does not have a problem with that. ठीक है, इसलिए हमने क्या किया इसके अंदर? हमने टोटल में से क्या कर दिया? हमने माइनस कर दिया 2 together होने 4 together होने वाला केस, and we found this total number of ways here. अभी जो नीचे वाला केस है, यहाँ पे none of them is acceptable. You can't have this, you can't have this, and you can't have this. इनमें से कोई भी केस नहीं हो सकता. 2 भी इकट्ठी नहीं हो सकती, 3 भी इकट्ठी नहीं हो सकती, 4 भी इकट्ठी नहीं हो सकती. In the first case there, the first case here, इसका मतलब था P, 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 P. This is not acceptable. However, the others, we were not really concerned about the other ones. हो जाए ना हो, we don't care about them. लेकिन ये चारों इकट्ठे नहीं हो सकते. ठीक है? यहाँ पे क्या है? Only this possibility can be there. Single physics books एक physics book एक साथ होएगी, बाकी सारे जो है वो अलग-अलग होंगे. सारी मतलब physics books एक दूसरे के साथ नहीं आ सकती. एक दूसरे से उनकी separation होएगी. ठीक है? No 2 physics books can be together. Is the difference clear to everyone? The difference clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Any questions on this? You need to understand this question first, so you understand that acha, this case is not the same as what we saw above. These are two different things. Not all and none of. Not all का मतलब है चारों इकट्ठे नहीं हो सकते, बस तीन हो सकते हैं, दो हो सकते हैं. None of का मतलब है दो भी नहीं हो सकते, तीन भी नहीं हो सकते, चार भी नहीं हो सकते. ठीक है. Now in this case we can no longer use this method, or even if we can, हमें वो सारे cases अलग-अलग find करने पड़ेंगे. We will have to find the case for two physics being together. वो find करें. फिर हम find करें three physics books together वाला case. फिर हम find करें four physics books वाला together वाला case. And then we subtract it from the total. आपको वो तीनों cases find करने पड़ेंगे. And then you'll have to subtract them from the total, which is going to be pretty lengthy. And we would not want to do that. Or काफी complicated भी हो जाएगा actually. So we have another method here to deal with problems like these, जहाँ पे कोई भी एक type या फिर कोई भी दो ऐसे objects हैं या कोई भी दो से ज़्यादा ऐसे objects हैं जिनमें से कोई भी एक दूसरे के साथ नहीं आ सकते. That's the condition that we have. Now, how are we going to deal with this? Now, let's think about how many total books we have. I'm going to write them here again. We had 6 math books, we had 4 physics books, and we had 2 chemistry books. Okay? So what's the total number of books that we have? We've got 12 total books. I'm going to write them here. The total number of books that we have is 12. उसमें से physics books कितनी है? जिन पे हमें restriction लगानी है, we've got 4 physics books. And what about everything else? जिनमें it doesn't matter where they are placed. Non-physics, they are 8. अब आपने करना क्या है? You're going to first place all the other books. जिसको आपने separate करना है, leave that on a side for the moment. And place everything else. उनके दरमियान में आपने spaces छोड़ देनी है. So something like this. You are going to have 8 boxes that look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 6, yeah, 7 and 8. So we've got 8 boxes in total. So we're going to draw boxes for everything else. जो physics के अलावा जो बाकी objects हैं, उन सब के लिए we have drawn these boxes. ठीक है? So now what we're going to do is we're going to place these boxes. We're going to place all the other books in these boxes. ठीक है? अब क्योंकि हमने physics books को separate करना है, the idea is that we leave spaces with all the other books and we say कि अच्छा जो physics books है ना वो या तो यहाँ पे physics books हैं वो यहाँ पे तो यहाँ पे आ सकती है, 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 यहाँ पे आ सकती है. They can be in these places. These are the places that we have for the physics books. Does that make sense? जो non-physics books थी, everything apart from what we want to separate, उनके लिए we've got these 8 places. ठीक है? And what we want to separate, that can now be between these boxes. इसके दरमियान में जितनी आपके पास spaces बन रही हैं, यहाँ पे कहीं हम physics books को place कर सकते हैं. So physics books जो है, वो इन जो lines मैंने बनाई हैं यहाँ पे, इन जगहों पे कहीं पे आ सकती हैं. Is that clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Any? Okay. So this is where we can place the physics books now. But how exactly are we going to evaluate the number of cases now? We say कि जो बाकी books हैं non-physics, they can be anywhere in these boxes. उनके number of ways कितने हो जाएंगे? उनको place करने के there are 8 boxes. There are 8 places. We've got 8 factorial for them, right? 8 factorial for placing these physics books, non-physics books, sorry, जो boxes के अंदर आ रही हैं. जो boxes के अंदर आ रही हैं उनको place करने के we've got 8 factorial ways. So this is for the non-physics books. जिन पे कोई कंडीशन नहीं है वो यहाँ पे कहीं पे भी आ सकते हैं. Now what about the physics books? अब देखें physics books में आपके पास कितनी options हैं, कितने आपके पास places आ रहे हैं यहाँ पे. You've got 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So we've got 9 places for the physics books. ठीक है. So we pick one physics book up. How many options do we have for placing that one physics book? कितनी जगहों में जाके डाल सकते हैं उसको? कितनी options है हमारे पास? एक physics book हम लेकर आते हैं, कितनी जगहों में जाके input कर सकते हैं? How many options do we have? How many places do we have?
9.
We've got 9 places, right? So we say, अच्छा, पहली physics book जो है, that can be placed in one of those 9 places. So there are 9 ways of placing the first physics book. ठीक है? अच्छा, now once we have placed that one physics book already, what about the second book? उसके बाद जो next book है, उसके लिए कितनी options हैं? We've got 8 options left for that. And then the third one, we've got 7 options left for that. And then the fourth one, we've got 6 options left for that. And that's the number of options, the number of arrangements that you have in this case. This is what will separate all the physics books. ठीक है? Because आपने क्या कहा? आपने restrict कर दिया कि physics book जो है वो in 9 places में आ सकती है कहीं पे. इसका मतलब है it will not, any physics books will not be next to another book. उसके दरमियान में हमेशा कोई ना कोई at least एक book आ ही रही होगी. तो for example, अगर मैं physics books को यहाँ पे place कर दूं, I place them here and then here and then maybe here and then maybe here. This is one option, right? अब इनके दरमियान में देखें, there are some other books. कोई ना कोई और book आ रही है. इसका मतलब है कि they are separated. So these are the number of cases that we're going to have in this case. So जो ऊपर वाला था ना यहाँ हमारे पास टोटल में से माइनस करने वाला, that will only work if we are either dealing with only 2 books. यहाँ पे फॉर एग्जांपल केमिस्ट्री बुक्स की बात हो रही थी, सिर्फ 2 की बात हो रही है, तो उसमें तो हम टोटल माइनस टुगेदर कर सकते हैं, बिकॉज वहां पे तो सिर्फ वही आपके पास केमिस्ट्री बुक्स में यही ऑप्शन है, एंड यू सेइंग कि अच्छा ये नहीं हो सकता. ठीक है. बट व्हेन यू टॉकिंग अबाउट मोर देन 2 ऑब्जेक्ट्स और उनको सेपरेट करना है, जब 2 से ज्यादा ऑब्जेक्ट्स को सेपरेट करना है और उसमें से वी डू नॉट वांट टू अलाउ एनी ऑफ दीज ऑप्शंस, वी डोंट वांट टू अलाउ एनी ऑफ दीज ऑप्शंस, तो फिर हम टोटल माइनस टुगेदर वाला केस नहीं कर सकते. वी हैव टू यूज दिस मेथड इंस्टेड. ठीक है. So when is this going to be used? This is the method that we're going to be using.
सर आई हैव अ क्वेश्चन. हम लोगों ने पहले जो काउंटिंग प्रिंसिपल सा किया था कि हमने देखे थे कि 2 इवेंट्स वाली चीज़, तो यहाँ पे हम कह रहे हैं कि 4 फिजिक्स बुक्स की बात हो रही है और 9 अपॉर्चुनिटीज उसको प्लेस करने की, तो 9 into 4 क्यों नहीं किया?
4 कहाँ से आया है?
4 फिजिक्स बुक्स.
नो, बट वहां पे जो मल्टीप्लाई करते थे वो तो नंबर ऑफ वेज करते थे ना. 4 किस चीज के नंबर ऑफ वेज है? We've got 4 books, right? So what we are actually doing is, first book के there are 9 ways, second book के 8 ways, third book के 7 ways, fourth book के 6 ways. इन सबको मल्टीप्लाई कर रहे हैं आपस में.
अच्छा ठीक है, ओके, थैंक यू।
So this is for the first book. This is for the first physics book. This is for the second physics book. This is for the third physics book. ये उसके places
सर
रह जाएंगे. And this for the fourth physics book. Yes.
why do we not have a factorial with 9, 8, 7 and 6?
Factorial क्यों आता था?
Because there were different possibilities.
Remember why we started using factorial there? We had 5 digits, for instance. We had 5 digits, for instance. And we wanted to place them in 5 boxes. वहाँ पे 5 चीजें थी हमारे पास, right? 5 को हमने 5 में place करना था. What would we do here? We say 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. And this, another way to write this is 5 factorial. But then we did another case. We had 5 integers, 5 digits, and only 3 places for them. So we said 5 into 4 into 3. यहाँ पे factorial हम नहीं use कर सकते थे because the number of objects that we were placing and the number of places that we had for them, they were not the same. So this is a rule that we will actually discuss as well. हम factorial जहाँ पे use करें, factorial कहाँ पे use करें? Factorial हम use कर रहे हैं जहाँ पे the number of ways, the number of objects that we have that we are placing and the number of spaces or the number of places we have, they are the same. वो दोनों equal जब होते हैं तब factorial use करता है. Otherwise use कर सकते हैं. For example, अगर आपके पास 9 places होते हैं और आपके पास 9 ही physics books होती, then you would say there are 9 factorial ways of placing those physics books, because then you'll be saying 9 for this, 8 for this, 7 for this, 8 for the 6 for this, and so on up to 1. तो वो total 9 factorial बन गया. अब यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? We have 4 objects and 9 places. तो first book को place करने के 9 options हैं, second के लिए 8 options हैं, third के लिए 7 options हैं, fourth के लिए 6 options हैं. But then we have run out of books. अब 4 ही books थी हमारे पास. अगर और books होती तो फिर we would do into 5 into 4 and we will keep going on. Right? यहाँ पे सिर्फ 4 books थी, तो we stop at this point. We say 9 into 7, 8 into 7 into 6. ये 4 books को हमने place कर दिया. So factorial हम कब use करेंगे? When the number of objects that we have and the number of spaces, the number of places we have, they are the same. जब वो same होते हैं तब factorial की sense बनती है. Is that okay? यहाँ पे वो different थे. यहाँ पे we would not be using factorial. Is that okay?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
So this is the method that we are going to be using whenever we've got more than 2 objects and we want to separate them. ठीक है? When we are given कि उनमें से कोई भी इकट्ठा नहीं हो सकता, this is the method that we will be using in that case. Okay? Acha, let's look at another variation of this. Let's say now we have this case that the chemistry books have to be together and none of the physics books can be together. Okay, so now we have another complexity here. There were 6 math books, remember? And there were 4 physics books and 2 chemistry books. Now what you want is chemistry books have to be together and none of the physics books can be together. अच्छा, आपने फिर क्या करना है? जिस चीज को आपने सेपरेट करना है उसको आपने भी होल्ड कर लेना है साइड पे. सेपरेट किसको करना है? Physics books को. You hold that on a side here. What's the total number that we have? The total number is 12. 12 books आपके पास total हैं. उसमें you've got 4 books, and then you've got the rest that are non-physics, which are 8 of them. There are 8 of them. ठीक है, तो फिजिक्स बुक्स को तो अभी आपने नहीं छेड़ना, उनको आपने अलग साइड पे रख दिया, ठीक है, बस उनको सेपरेट करना है, उनके लिए वी विल ड्रॉ दीज लाइंस एट द एंड, राइट, वो कहाँ कहाँ पे प्लेस कर सकते हैं उसको अभी हम साइड पे कर दिया, जिसको सेपरेट करना है वी आर गोइंग टू होल्ड दैट फॉर सम टाइम, बाकी चीजों का सोचते हैं. So what I've left with, we've got 8 other books. We've got 8 other books. अब उन 8 में से देखें, the chemistry books have to be together. How many boxes are we going to have for this if we want the chemistry books to be together? Because remember, physics, non-physics books के अंदर हमारे पास math जो है वो 6 है,
Then service will
और
have 7.
we will have 7 boxes, right? Because chemistry जो है, chemistry books जो है वो एक box के अंदर आ जाएंगी और बाकी 6 boxes आपके पास maths के लिए होंगे. So now we will have 7 boxes for the non-physics books. Physics के अलावा जो बाकी सारी books हैं उसके लिए we've got 7 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we have the 7th box. I want to make it a bit bigger, in which, let's say, we have the 2 chemistry books, C1, C2. Chemistry books जो है हमने एक box के अंदर कर दी. So now we've got 7 boxes. क्योंकि chemistry books को हमने इकट्ठा रखना था. Now, the physics books cannot be together. The physics books cannot be together. So that means we have these lines for them कि वो यहाँ पे कहीं पे आ सकते हैं, इनमें से किसी भी place पे आ सकते हैं, right? इनमें से कहीं पे भी आ सकते हैं. Now let's do them step by step. So how many boxes do we have here? We've got 7 boxes in total. And how many ways can we arrange these 7 boxes? We can arrange them in 7 factorial ways, right? Boxes की arrangements total कितनी होगी? 7 factorial. Then we have these chemistry books inside that one of those boxes. उसको arrange करने के कितने ways हैं? 2 chemistry books. And how many ways can we arrange those 2 chemistry books? We can arrange them in 2 factorial ways. ठीक है? In chemistry books को arrange करने के we have 2 factorial ways. And then we can place the physics books in one of these places where we have these lines. So again, let's think about it. We are putting the first physics book here. First physics books कितनी जगह पे जा सकती है? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 places for the first physics book. ठीक है? So we say this is going to be 8 for the first physics book. Then the second physics book will have 7 places left. We have 7 for that. For the third book, we've got 6 places left. And for the fourth book, we've got 5 places left. And this is the number of ways that we have in this case. Okay. 7 factorial is coming for the outer boxes. This 2 factorial is for the chemistry books. And this is for the 4 physics books. Is that okay? Any problems with this?
It's clear, sir.
सर जो 8 है 8 6 7 5 वो यहाँ से है ना कि 4 physics books हैं तो 8 places हैं तो एक ने cover 8 first book has 8 options कि वो जहाँ पे हो सकती है and फिर the next will have 1 option less because obviously one of the places has the first book, right?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's correct. ठीक है? ये arrangements वाले cases, almost this is all what we have. Just one last thing, and then you have to make sure that you revise them before our next class. एक दफा इनको पूरा go through कर लें. I'll share this page right away after the class on the group as well. Make sure that you look at these examples again before our next class. Okay, we're not ending yet. Don't get very happy. We are going to have a look at a couple of questions. Acha. So we have 6 girls.
Excuse me, sir.
And
Sorry, I'm sitting in between. Class 330 तक है या extended है?
350 तक होती है ये वाली class.
क्या?
अच्छा,
So,
okay.
but we will have a 5-minute break in the middle, so we will end at 4. Okay. I hope you didn't notice what I did there, but we'll do that. Okay. We'll have a 5 minutes break in the middle, and we will end at 4 inshallah. ठीक है? Okay.
यार तो सब बात जाती है.
ब्रेक मिल जाएगी ना आपको, थोड़ा सा सांस ले लें. यहाँ पे रोका हुआ है तो. Okay. Let's consider this. So we have 6 girls and 5 boys. They stand in a line. None of the girls wants to stand next to each other. Okay, let me change that. So let's say now the boys wants to stand next to each other. That's better. So we have 6 girls and 5 boys. They stand in a line. None of the boys want to stand next to each other. How many possible arrangements are there for this? How do we think about it? Anyone?
सर बॉयज को निकाल के पहले बाकियों का देख सकते हैं, वो 6 फैक्टोरियल हो जाएगा.
जिनको सेपरेट करना है उनको अभी आप साइड पे रख दें. Okay, so boys are 5 and girls are 6. Ignore the boys for now. And place girls here in these 6 positions. 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 6 places. Okay. And then boys can come in any one of these places. दरम्यान में हमारे पास ये spaces बच गए. ठीक है, because they don't want to stand next to each other. Now, how many places do we have for girls here? Got 6 factorial ways. उनको arrange करने के कितने ways हैं? We got 6 factorial ways. But then, how many places do boys have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 7 places here. So the first boy has 7 options, 7 possible positions to stand. So we've got 7 there. Second one has 6 available options left. The third one has 5 available options left. The fourth has 4, and the fifth has 3. So this is going to be the total number of ways that we get here. ठीक है? Any problem with this? So जो आपने separate करना है, you ignore that for that moment and you consider everything else. उनके आपने boxes बना ले, उनके arrangements कर ली, और फिर दरम्यान में जो आपके पास ये spaces बच गई हैं, वहां पर आप देख सकते हैं कि कितनी जगह पे उनको place कर सकते हैं. ठीक है? And now before we end this discussion, यही चीज जो है ना, जब हम those of you who know add maths and those of you who haven't done as well, we will do this in our next class. इसी चीज को ना आप actually इस तरह भी लिख सकते हो. This is actually 6 factorial into 7p. How many do we have? Yeah, 7p5. This can also be written like this. जो ऊपर हमने देखा था, this could also be written as 7 factorial into 2 factorial into 8p4. Because you see, you had 8 places, 4 physics books को आपने वहां पे arrange करना था, so we have 8p4 there. 8p4 आपके पास यही आता है, 8 into 7 into 6 into 5. And similarly here, this 8 factorial into 9 into 8 into 7 into 6, this could actually be written as 8 factorial. This could also be written as 8 factorial into 9, which is the total number of places that we have, into 9p4, 9 places में आपको 4 physics को arrange करना है. So you could also do it like this, 8 factorial into 9p4. We will be doing this in the next class, but that's just a point that some of you might understand. We'll come back to this in the next class again, inshallah. So आप इस तरह भी इसको कर सकते हो, जब हम वो permutations वाला concept देख लेंगे, उसके बाद उसको वैसे ही क्या करेंगे. But what do we get from this? Anyone? What do we get?
181
181
4400.
4400. So this is the number of ways that we get in this case. ठीक है? Any questions at this point? Is this okay, everyone? Is
Sir,
this okay to everyone?
what about the one example you gave with more objects and less spaces? Can we use the P1 over there as well?
Yes, so you can actually use P there as well. Where was that?
It was the digit one.
Yeah, so here you could say this is, you've got 5 objects, you've got 3 places to place them. This is also the same thing as saying 5p3. You've got 5 objects and you have to arrange 3 of them, right? You have 5, if you've got 5 objects, you have to arrange 3 of them. So you've got 3 place spaces, right? 5 objects and 3 spaces. That's also 5p3. So it works both ways. Okay, but hey, those of you who do not know about permutations yet, do not worry. We will be reviewing this, and this is just one example of how we use permutations, but that's for the next class. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you this question. Permutations and combinations. Okay, we're going to do 2 questions. One is pretty straightforward. The other is slightly more difficult. 2 questions करेंगे, उसके बाद we end, inshallah. So I'm going to copy this here. We'll have a 5-minute break now. You can have a look at this and in that break and think about it maybe if you want. But we have a break now. Okay, so 5 minutes and then we do a couple of questions. So take 5 minutes to maybe just stand up and try to refresh yourself somehow. Because we want to do 2 questions and then we end after that, okay? All right, so we start again at 3:38, inshallah. Okay. Okay, so do we have everyone back? Can I raise of hands from everyone? Can everyone raise their hands? Zaina, Zainab, Manal, Mariam, Fiza, Tanya, Fiza Nazir, Manal, Fiza Nazir, and Manal. Okay, we're going to begin. All right, let's do these two questions and then we end. So the word Argentina includes four consonants, R, G, N, and T, and three vowels that are A, E, and I. Find the number of different arrangements using all 9 letters. Number of different arrangements using all 9 letters. So how do we do that? How many letters do we have in total? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. Okay, 3, 6, 9. There are 9 letters in total. So it's 9 factorial from that. But then we look at the repetitions. A, there are 2 A's. We have 2 factorial because of that. Are there any other repetitions? R, G, E, N. There are 2 N's. So we have another 2 factorial because of that. Okay? So that's going to be your first part here. You'll see the answers to the permutations and permutation combination questions are going to be very short. बहुत ज़्यादा, mostly, sometimes you have to write down a lot of cases और फिर सोचना पड़ता है. But a lot of times they are very short और उस पे आपको बिल्कुल 2-3 steps के 3-4 marks मिल रहे होंगे अक्सर. So what do we get here? 9 factorial over 2 factorial over 2 factorial. What's this?
90720.
90720. ठीक है? You have to make sure that you write down this result. Do not just leave it in terms of factorials. कभी-कभी उसने उसका अलाउ किया होता है, कभी-कभी उसने इस आंसर के भी मार्क रखे होते हैं. So you should always write the answer at the end. Okay. Let's look at the second part. How many of these arrangements have a consonant at the beginning, then a vowel, then another consonant, and so on alternately? Okay, so we've got 4 consonants and we've got 3 vowels. और उसमें फिर आपकी repetitions भी हो रही हैं. Now let's think about it. So, how many consonants do we have in total? यहाँ पे इसके अंदर कितने consonants आ रहे हैं आपके पास? N 2 दफा आ रहा है, so there are 5 consonants in total. ठीक है? There are 5 of them. Vowels कितने हैं? There are 4 of them. इनको आपने क्या करना है? Separate करना है. ठीक है? And they are coming alternately. Right? They are coming alternately. इसका मतलब ये है कि कौन सा पहले आएगा, किससे स्टार्ट करेंगे? Can we start with a vowel? पहला आपका vowel हो सकता है?
No,
नहीं
sir,
sir.
the question says कि constant होना चाहिए शुरू में.
अच्छा उसने बता दिया, सॉरी. अच्छा उसने नाम भी बताया हुआ था. And it says they have to come alternately. Can we still, even if it was not given, let's say it says how many of these arrangements have consonants and vowels coming alternately. अगर ये भी उसने कहा होता, you cannot start with the vowel anyway. Why? Because then you have V, C, V, C, V, C, then V, and we've run out of vowels already. We have 2 consonants left. यहाँ पे इकट्ठे 2 तो नहीं लग सकते because they have to come alternately. तो फिर एक हमें C क्या करना पड़ेगा, फिर से लगाना पड़ेगा. So essentially we have to start with a C. कि C ज़्यादा है ना, जो ज़्यादा हैं आपके, वो आपके ends पे आने पड़ेंगे. Is that okay? Is that point clear? कभी कभी ऐसे भी होता है कि वो आपको नहीं बताता कि किससे स्टार्ट करना है. तो of course अगर alternately आ रहे हैं तो फिर तो जो ज़्यादा है आपको उसी से स्टार्ट करना पड़ेगा, अदरवाइज वो alternately नहीं आ सकता. ठीक है? So this is what the situation is. Now, how many ways do we have for this? How many arrangements can we have for this? So let's talk about the consonants first. Consonants के number of ways of arrangement कितने हो सकते हैं? Consonants के number of arrangements कितनी हो सकती हैं? Anyone?
5 factorial divided by 2 factorial.
5 factorial. 5 factorial. Why? Because we've got 5 consonants. However, we've got n repeated. n 2 दफा आ रहा है. n क्योंकि 2 दफा आ रहा है, we have to divide that by 2 factorial. उसको से 2 factorial से divide करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है? And then we look at the vowels. How many do we have? We've got 4 of them. उनके arrangements कितने हो जाएंगे? 4 factorial. But then vowels, maybe you've got 2 A's. You have to divide by 2 factorial. And that's your total number of ways. Is this clear? Any problems with this?
सर 2 फैक्टोरियल जो है वो एक ही रेपिटेशन की वजह से है.
Yes. 2 factorial एक. So ये वाला 2 factorial एक ही repetition की वजह से है और ये वाला 2 factorial n की repetition की वजह से. All right. ठीक है?
Sir.
Yes.
So how does this consider the condition that they have to come alternately?
How does this consider the condition that they have to come alternately? So basically what we are doing is, let me actually draw boxes that might help you think.
सर वो बनाते हैं जैसे आपने पहले बॉक्सेस बनाई थी, फिर लाइंस बनाई थी, भी लाइक ये दे वोंट कम टुगेदर.
Okay. Let's look at it this way. So we have 9 boxes in total. Got 9 boxes in total. 1 in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, are these 9 boxes? Yes. अच्छा देखिए 9 boxes के अंदर the positions are fixed. The positions are fixed in the sense you have to have a consonant here, then another consonant here, then another consonant here, then another consonant here, then the other consonant here. आपने positions उनके fix कर दिए. They cannot move. That is the reason we are using 5 factorial here. If their positions were not fixed, in that case we would have just been using 9 factorial because फिर तो उनकी position change हो सकती है, तो वो कहीं पे भी जा सकता है. 5 factorial हम क्यों यहाँ पे use कर रहे हैं? We're using 5 factorial because The positions for consonants are fixed. They cannot move from there. They cannot move from there. Does that make sense? And similarly, for vowels as well, we have one vowel here, another here, another here, another here. Their positions are also fixed. They cannot change. तो इनके पास चार ही options है. तो यहाँ पे 4 possibilities and the 3 possibilities and 2 and then 1. So that's where this 4 factorial is coming from. If you had not fixed their positions, then we would not be considering them separately like this. Then we could just do 9 factorial. फिर तो उनकी कोई भी positions हो सकती थी, and then we would divide by 2 factorial and 2 factorial, just like we did in the previous part. But यहाँ पे alternately का मतलब है हमने वो fix कर दिया उनकी positions. अब consonants को place करने के we've got this many ways, और इसको place करने के this many ways. Okay? Does that
Yes,
make
sir.
sense?
Okay. Yes, sir, it does.
Here the question was okay, the consonants should be together and the vowels should be together. The answer would be the same, right?
If the consonants had to be together and vowels had to be together, then we would have 2 boxes like this. In one of them, you'll have 5 consonants. Let me just write them here. कौन से थे वो? Argentina था, so we have R, G, and 2 N, P, N. Then 4 vowels, A, E, I, and then another A. ये आपने सबको together कर दिया. You've got 2 outer boxes. उनकी arrangements होंगी. आपस में भी वो switch swap कर सकते हैं. Vowels left पे आ सकते हैं, consonants right पे जा सकते हैं. We've got 2 factorial for that, and then 5 factorial for the consonants divided by 2 factorial because of this repetition of n, and then 4 factorial for the vowels divided by 2 factorial. So everything else would be the same there, except this 2 factorial, क्योंकि वो boxes भी interchange कर सकते हैं. यहाँ पे हमने position की fix कर दी हुई है, तो वो change नहीं कर सकता.
ठीक
Is
है,
that
thank
okay?
you. Yeah, sir, thank you.
Any other questions? Clear है? Okay, let's look at one more and then we end. So this is the last question that we'll be doing. A shop has 7 different mountain bicycles, 5 different racing bicycles. अच्छा, अब देखें उसने यहाँ पे different पे लिखा हुआ है. Just to make sure you don't confuse yourself and consider them identical. Although they're mountain bicycles, it does not mean they're all identical. Right? They are different bicycles. Right? उनकी अपनी एक identity है. You can't say they're all identical. So they're all different bicycles. 5 different racing bicycles and 8 different ordinary bicycles. So यहाँ पे repetition नहीं हो रही है. These are all different. Okay. अच्छा, इसका first part तो अच्छा, skip the first part for now. Skip the first part for now. We're not going to do that. वो उसमें combinations involved है. We will skip the first part. Second part देखते हैं. First part अभी skip कर दें. We will come to that later. The cycling club buys 3 mountain bicycles, 1 racing bicycle, and 2 ordinary bicycles. Okay, yeah. So let's look at this. First को छोड़ दें. First को आप छोड़ दें. We're not doing that right now. Let's look at this. The cycling club buys 3 mountain bicycles, 1 racing bicycle, and 2 ordinary bicycles. So this is what we have. And parks them in a cycle rack, which has a row of 10 empty spaces. Okay? It's a row of 10 empty spaces. Now, how many different arrangements are there in the cycle rack? If the mountain bicycles are all together with no spaces between them, the ordinary bicycles are both together with no spaces between them, and the spaces are also all together. Okay? Mountain bicycles are all together, so वो तीनों इकट्ठी हैं. Ordinary bicycles are both together. Racing bicycle तो है ही एक, right? So अपने साथ together. And the third is then finally we've got the spaces all together as well. The spaces भी सारी इकट्ठी होनी चाहिए. ठीक है? Now how is this going to look like? So initially we had how many spaces? We had 10 spaces in total. So originally we've got something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is how those 10 empty spaces in the cycle rack look like. Okay, we've got 10 boxes. And now we have to place 3 mountain bicycles, and they have to be together. Tino mountain bicycles together hoenge. So what we do is we make one box for them. So ye hum ikattha kar dete hain. We say we've got 3 mountain bicycles here. I'm going to represent them by 3M. We've got 3 mountain bicycles. वो यहाँ पर आ गई. Ordinary bicycles are both together. How many are there? There are 2 of them. We combine them as well. यहाँ पे भी एक box मैंने खत्म कर दिया. And I have 2 ordinary bicycles here. ठीक है? 1 racing bicycle, so that could be anywhere. So I can write 1 racing bicycle here and 1 box. But then all spaces should all be together as well. Spaces सारी इकट्ठी होंगी. ये जो बाकी चारों spaces हैं, they are all together. There's one box for them. So for example, ये नहीं हो सकता कि you have 3 mountain bicycles and then have a space और फिर आपके पास जो है वो एक racing bicycle आ रही हो, फिर आपके पास 2 ordinary आ रही हो और फिर 3 spaces हो. You can't have something like this. Spaces all have to be together. For the चारों spaces they have to be together. So आपके पास इकट्ठी आ गई. So we remove these lines as well and we say these are the 4 spaces that we have. Is this clear to everyone? Any issues with this? Yeah. Diagram clear hai?
Yes, sir.
Now we look at the arrangements. How many outer boxes do we have? We've got 4 outer boxes. ठीक है? इन boxes को आपस में arrange कर सकते हो. इन चारों के आपके कितने ways हो गए? We've got 4 factorial ways of arranging these boxes first. ठीक है? ये अपने places change कर सकते हैं. Then 3 mountain bicycles. How many ways do we have for them? उनको arrange करने के 3 factorial ways. What about the 2 ordinary bicycles? We have 2 factorial ways for that. 1 racing bicycle, well, उसमें तो उसकी तो कोई खास arrangement नहीं होगी, but if you want, you can write 1 factorial, right? So वो तो अपने अकेली है, so you don't have to really worry about its arrangement inside that box. That's just 1. Say 1 factorial if you want. What about the 4 spaces? What about their arrangement? इन पे क्या आएगा?
सर वो तो स्पेसेस तो आइडेंटिकली होंगी तो उसको तो नहीं करेंगे ना इस तरह से.
Yeah, so spaces के तो कोई arrangement नहीं है ना. Spaces को you can either ignore in the sense कि उनकी अपनी arrangements तो नहीं है, or you can say कि अच्छा there are 4 objects, उनको arrange करने के कितने ways होते हैं? 4 factorial, but all of them are identical. So we divide by 4 factorial, so it's just 1 basically. So there are no ways for that. You can just ignore that, or if you want, you can add this. That's just 1, right? Is that okay?
यस सर समझ आ गई.
ठीक है, उसको इग्नोर कर दें वैसे, बिकॉज उनकी तो स्पेसेस मैटर नहीं करती हैं. वो स्पेसेस तो अपनी पोजीशन में भी चेंज कर सकते हैं, सो दे आर जस्ट देयर. बट इफ यू वांटेड आप 4 factorial कर सकते थे बिकॉज दे आर ऑल आइडेंटिकल. तो आपके पास वो आ जाता. सो दिस इज गोइंग टू गिव यू द रिजल्ट, एंड व्हाट डज दैट टर्न आउट टू बी? 24 into 6, 288. So that's our final result here. ठीक है. Let's look at the second part, the third part. Now, what does this say? How many different arrangements are there in the cycle rack? If the ordinary bicycles are at each end of the bicycles and there are no spaces between any of the bicycles. So now there's an important point to note here. Ordinary bicycles are at each end of the bicycles and there are no spaces between any of the bicycles. तो जो ordinary है वो bicycles के end के ऊपर है. It does not mean कि जो आपके पास 10 spaces हैं. So let me actually draw them. Draw them. A situation that looks like this. We've got 10 boxes. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So can I say one of the ordinary bicycles is here and the other is here? Is that correct? Will this make sense?
So it says there shouldn't be any spaces between the bicycles, so I don't think this will be correct.
There shouldn't be any spaces between the bicycles, right? So isme to, since you have only 6 bicycles, you can't place them here such that they don't have any spaces. So दोनों ends पे इस तरह से नहीं आ सकते, right? Spaces between any of the bicycles नहीं होनी चाहिए. इसका मतलब है all 6 of them should be in a single box, right? All 6 of them should be in a single box. लेकिन उस single box के अंदर भी आपके पास फिर conditions होंगी. So एक तो वो single box के अंदर हो गई. Represent the other bicycles here. एक end पे यहाँ पे. Let me actually draw another box inside. अब ये 6 bicycles के मेरे पास एक single box है. Okay? 6 bicycles. I've got one single box for all of those bicycles. Okay? Now inside this box, I've got some restrictions. And those restrictions are ordinary bicycles have to be at the ends. वो यहाँ पे होनी चाहिए. वो ends पे होनी चाहिए. That's a restriction that I have. Okay. Ordinary bicycles should be at the ends here. Let's call this O1. Let's call this O2. अच्छा, और क्या restriction है? If the ordinary bicycle is at each end of the bicycle, no. Yeah. So these are the only restrictions that we have. Now, what do we have left inside? बाकी क्या रह गया हमारे पास? We are left with 3 mountain bicycles. वो रहती हैं. And 1 ordinary bicycle. ठीक है. अब ये arrange करना है. How many outer boxes do we have? देखिए spaces दरम्यान में आ सकती है ना कहीं पे भी. हो सकता है कि आपकी बाइक्स यहाँ पे इकट्ठी हो. You have 1 space on the right, 3 on the 1 space on the left, 3 on the right. This is possible. This is fine. इसमें कोई मसला नहीं है. बाइसाइकिल्स के दरम्यान में स्पेस नहीं आ सकती. साइड्स पे आ सकती हैं स्पेसेस कहीं भी. तो हमारे पास इन बॉक्सेस को अरेंज करने के कितने वेज हैं? सबसे पहले इन बॉक्सेस को अरेंज करने के कितने वेज हैं? एनीवन?
5 factorial.
5 factorial? Would that be correct?
One box, so it will be 5, yeah.
5 factorial? Or we need to have something else as well? All the empty spaces are identical, right? All the empty spaces are identical.
4 factorial.
So divided by 4 factorial. Empty spaces identical है, right? उनमें तो कोई फर्क नहीं होगा ना. Spaces में तो कोई फर्क नहीं है. Empty spaces जो हैं, they are identical. So we divide by 4 factorial because of that. ठीक है? And then we look at the rest of it. अब अंदर देखें आपके पास क्या अरेंजमेंट्स होंगे. जो 6 bicycles हैं, इनको कितने वेज में अरेंज कर सकते हैं? Well, we have two ordinary bicycles. ये अपनी positions change कर सकती हैं. O1 O2 था, वो O2 O1 हो सकता है. दो ordinary bicycles हैं, उनकी arrangements कितनी हो सकती हैं? 2 factorial. You can just write 2. There are two ways of arranging O1 O2. हो सकता है O2 पहले आ जाता, O1 बाद में आ जाता. These are the two options that we've got. And then we have 4 bikes remaining in the middle. दरमियान वाले region के अंदर. How many ways can we arrange those 4 bikes? And arrange them in 4 factorial ways.
Or over 3 factorial.
Over 3 factorial. Will we do that here? क्योंकि ये 3M हमने लिखा है यहाँ पे. But these are bikes. These are mountain bikes. And we know they were all different bikes. Identical नहीं है वो. So maybe just to be more clear here, ताकि confused now, मैं यहाँ पे लिख सकते हैं. There are 3 mountain bikes and 1 racing bike. Now these are bikes. They're not identical. These are just types of bikes. 3 mountain है or 1 racing है. They're not identical. Exactly same नहीं है. So we will not be dividing by 3 factorial there. Spaces identical थे. Right? उसने bicycles का बताया हुआ था ऊपर. They are different. Clarify भी किया हुआ वहाँ पे. Is this okay?
Yes, sir.
So what do we get from this?
240.
240. So this is the number of arrangements that we have here. Okay. Now, these 2 classes that we had today were really important. Make sure that you review them once. You review the notes once. I'm just sharing the notes right now in the group. Make sure that you review them because इसमें बहुत सारे key concepts हैं जो आगे हमें कल भी काम आने हैं. So we will do a few more things tomorrow and do some more practice questions and then do some more practice on Monday. You have to make sure that you attempt some questions yourself as well. ठीक है? So इसमें practice बहुत ज़्यादा चाहिए होती है. Make sure that you are doing that. I'll be uploading the worksheet right now as well. You'll also get all the printouts tomorrow, by the way. Tomorrow's class is on campus, and I have requested for the printouts for both probability and permutations combinations. The next topic हमारा होएगा discrete random variables. उन तीनों worksheets के printouts भी आपको कल class में मिल जाएंगे इंशाल्लाह. Okay, so that's it for this class. If you have any questions, you can let me know. I'm here for some time. Otherwise, we'll see you again tomorrow, inshallah, on campus. Allah Hafiz. If you have any questions, I'm here.
अल्लाह हाफिज़.
Allah Hafiz, sir.
सर आपने अटेंडेंस नहीं देनी.
I have the data. I'll mark that.
अल्लाह हाफिज़.
Hafiz.
Sir,
Yes.
question 20 and question 29 from the probability worksheet. You've assigned
Okay.
it, but I think we can't do it right now.
I think you can't do all of it. कुछ parts पे शायद मसला है. Let me have a look. Question number 20. Other worksheet. Probability.
The last part. The 6th part.
Yeah, you can skip the last part. Last part के अलावा बाकी कर सकते हैं.
Answer question 29.
Question number
29.
29.
Yes, sir.
Second को आप छोड़ दें. First कर सकते हैं sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Okay. Method for separating two objects. Part 3 कौन सा? It'd be easier if you can speak verbally. Chat में जाना बातें थोड़ा सा मुश्किल होता है. This part 3?
No, sir, जो आपने method करवाया था separating two objects, not from the questions.
Okay. All right. Acha, so let's take another example. Let's say we have some objects. So we have some apples. And we have line में तो नहीं arrange करेंगे apples को. Let's take something else. Let's say we have some letters like this: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. There are 10 letters in total. Okay, there are 10 letters in total. We've got some vowels here and some consonants. We've got A, E, I. There are 3 vowels and there are 7 consonants. Okay. Seven consonants. Now what we want to do is we want to find the number of arrangements number of possible arrangements of these objects, of these letters. So there's azan going on here. I'll just take a 1-minute break. Just right in the meantime. 1 minute है, मैं बाद में explain करता हूँ. Okay, so we've got these letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. There are 10 letters in total. What you want to do is we want to find the number of possible arrangements of these letters, given that any vowel cannot be next to another vowel. So none of the vowels can be next to each other. That's the problem. Okay. Now what you want to do is you want to see किन objects को आपने separate करना है. आपने vowels को separate करना है. जिसको separate करना है उसको आपने अभी side पे रख देना है. And you consider the other objects apart from that type जो आपने separate करनी है. Separate हमें किसको करना है? Vowels को. We leave that on a side. बाकी सबके आपने boxes बना देने हैं. We've got 7 consonants. We've got 7 possible positions for consonants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Now since walls have to be separated, उसके लिए हम क्या करेंगे? We say कि walls जो हैं वो इनके दरमियान में कहीं पे आ सकते हैं, जैसे वो एक साथ नहीं आ सकते ना, so हर wall के दरमियान में at least एक box होना जरूरी है. So these are the possible positions for those walls. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 lines, 8 vertical lines. There are 8 possible positions for the walls. Now, how do you find out the number of possible arrangements here? There are 7 consonants. Boxes जो हैं आपके पास, उनकी possible cases आपके पास कितने होंगे? 7 हैं, तो that's 7 factorial. And then you've got 3 vowels and we've got 8 places for them. First vowel के लिए कितने possible places हैं? There are 8 possible places. Second के लिए there are 7 possible places. और फिर third के लिए there are 6 possible places. So the total number of arrangements that you will have in this case is going to be something like this. 7 factorial for the consonants, उनके arrangements, and then we had 3 vowels that we could place in any of these positions. जो आपके पास lines आ रही हैं, lines कितनी है total? 8. तो first vowel के लिए 8 options होंगे, second के लिए 7 and third के लिए 6. So we've got 8 times 7 times 6 for that. Does this make sense? Vanya, is that okay?
सर 8 कैसे बनेंगी? 7 और 6
Eight.
समझ आई, 8 कैसे बनेंगी?
देखिए जब आपके पास 7 बॉक्सेस है ना, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, उन बॉक्सेस के अराउंड आपके पास 8 प्लेसेस हैं. आप स्टार्ट करें ना, यहाँ से स्टार्ट करें. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. 8 स्पेसेस है ना, साइड पे भी तो आ सकते हैं ना, दोनों साइड्स पे. तो जितने बॉक्सेस होंगे उससे एक ज्यादा आपकी स्पेसेस होंगी उन वॉवल्स के लिए, राइट? तो फर्स्ट वॉवल के लिए 8 स्पेसेस हैं. जब 8 आपने प्लेस कर दिया, हाउ मेनी प्लेसेस आर यू लेफ्ट विद? यू लेफ्ट विद 7 पॉसिबल प्लेसेस एंड देन 6.
ओके,
ठीक है? Is it
दैट्स
clear
इट.
now? Yes. So in this case, that's all we were doing. Boxes आपने boxes की arrangement देख ली. Boxes आपने क्या consider करने हैं? Everything else apart from what you want to separate. उसके अलावा बाकी सबके boxes बना दिए. And then you have lines between them. तो आपने देख लिया कि boxes के कितने possible arrangements हैं. उनकी 7 factorial हैं because there are 7 boxes in total. और फिर possible position for vowels आपके पास 8 थी. तो 8 में आपने 3 vowels place करने हैं. So that's 8 times 7 times 6. ठीक है?
यस सर,
That's
थैंक यू.
that's exactly what we did here as well. यहाँ पे भी वही किया था. बस 4 physics books थी which we wanted to separate. बाकी 8 books थी जो physics books नहीं थी. उन 8 के हमने boxes बना दिए थे. And we got 8 factorial from them. And then we said there are 9 spaces. 9 spaces में आपने 4 books रखनी है. So first book के लिए there are 9 possibilities, then 8, then 7, and then 6 for the fourth book. So that's what you get there as well. ठीक है, उसमें भी यही किया था exactly. All right, anything else?
नो सर, थैंक यू.
Okay, Allah Hafiz.